What's going on, homies? Welcome to the Correct Soccer Podcast, episode number 17. On today's podcast, the international break, lots of international games went on. We'll cover most of them. We'll cover the big ones. We'll cover the UEFA Nations League, the greatest soccer player of all time, getting another Nations League. We'll see.
Two Nations Leagues equals one World Cup.
Hey,
confirmed.
Somebody's got to do the math, right? Somebody's math might be wrong or correct. We'll see. Concacaf Gold Cup action this weekend. Our thoughts on the upcoming tournament, as well as a recap of Week 17 and a look into Week 18 of the MLS regular season. Don't miss it. Episode number 17 of the Crack Soccer Podcast.
17.
Boom! I know, man. It's been a long time coming. Boys, El Chino, El Fern. How we doing, guys? How we feeling?
Could be better. Could be worse.
Really?
Yeah.
A great weekend. I had a great weekend. I went camping with the family, so I'm well rested.
I was pulling weeds
Not
in my
really.
backyard all weekend.
Sounds like a very, father thing to do.
Yeah,
You're old, bro.
I know.
Gotta represent my newest country, bro. I got my Mexican
Hey.
citizenship this week. So you better
Congrats.
believe your boy is Mexicano.
Congratulations, my
He's
guy.
already
That's
lost.
pretty sweet. That's okay. Hey, Orgullo Mexicano, dude.
Oh, shoot.
It is what it is. You got to represent all the time. Sweet, fellas. We'll good to have all of us on today. But before we get into the episode, the first things first, got to check out the leaderboard, see who's on top.
Check it out next
Oh
week.
my gosh, bro!
Check it out next week.
I forgot. I don't even have it
You
ready.
always
We
know.
should
We
just
always-
skip it this week. I
we
forgot.
always
This
know
week we can
who's
look at it next week.
losing because
We can look at it
nobody
next
wants
week.
to look at it when you guys are losing. Nice. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy
DC
is
United
on
did me
top.
dirty, man. DC United, why?
They got spanked.
We'll talk about
your
it.
boy.
We'll talk about it.
At the very top with 108 points. Angel Capitan. Yes. With 108. Lopez. Chino. 6. My guy, look. Hey, you're 2 points behind me. That's pretty good. That's pretty dang good, man. Drop points here and there, but still, you're in the running. You're doing well.
I ain't giving up.
Ain't giving up.
Honestly,
And then I think we're done. That's all. That's the leaderboard.
this whole thing has given me a new perspective of how Ronaldo feels, bro. I'm trying my hardest, but I just can't make it to the top. It just sucks. So my thoughts go out to him.
Yeah, well, that's pretty funny, dude. But I don't know if you can compare yourself to Cristiano Ronaldo. Solid stuff. Yeah, that is the leaderboard. For anybody that doesn't know, that is just our picks for the MLS regular season. However many picks we get correct on a weekly basis, that is what our points are totaling to.
This week would have been like a perfect week to get all of them right, which me and you, Reyes, almost did. I was mad at myself because I talked crap on the PIDs the last few weeks, and this week I'm like, let's go with the PIDs, and they let me down. So
I know that sucks, bro. I know, I feel you. We definitely could have had them all right, but nonetheless, it's hard to do, right? So, we got 4 out of the 5, which is pretty good, so we'll take it. But that is the leaderboard. That is the correct leaderboard for us. Going into the next segment here, the favorite segment for all of us, at least. We're going into the correct performances of the week. What is that? The correct performances are where we individually choose our favorite player, our favorite games, and we give them a correct performance, and we crack one open for them. And then at the very, very end, we will pour one out for whoever didn't have a great performance for that week. Could be a player, could be a team. But nonetheless, we will crack one open for them for our correct performances.
what are you doing with that can, buddy? Oh my god, bro! I that was gonna explode.
Bamboozled, yeah. Sweet, but let's get it started here.
You got it. I'll figure it out as you're going, Lopez. Don't
Alrighty.
you worry. I
You
got
guys
you.
ready for
I won't
my
let you down.
cracked player of the week this week? We are looking at our boy Tom Barlow, the man putting up three goals in a single game versus DC United, pulling off the hat trick. Surprisingly, I was looking at a couple of facts before the podcast today, and this is Chicago Fire's first hat trick since 2017.
Oh.
This is Tom Barlow's first hat trick of his career as well, in his seven-year MLS career. So boy's been at it for a while. got to give love where it's due, man. It's impressive when you can put up a hat trick. You guys who have played, Reyes, all our listeners who have played the game before, I've never played. I was too uncoordinated for it. But even I know that's very impressive. So hats off to you, Tom Barlow. A couple other stats here. 7-1 Chicago Fire, putting me another point behind El Capitan, which unfortunate for me, but man, what a performance by these guys. 7-1 road win over DC United. The 7 goals that they put up did tie the club's all-time record for most goals in a single game. So very impressive. And Chicago Fire, man, now have 35 goals in the 2025 season. So let's see if they can keep putting points up. I don't know. I think we had them pretty much in like sometimes very good, sometimes very check category, if I'm not mistaken here. So let's see if they can keep trending upwards towards the sometimes very good category. So
there we go.
There's my cracked player of the week. This week, highlighting, was looking at the cracked game of the week, right? I was looking at the teams. I have to shout out LAFC, have the riot out here at Real Salt Lake. The 3252s had a silent protest. Much love to my people out there representing for all our communities out there. Social worker here at heart, for those of you who don't know me. But they were quiet most of the game, holding up banners. You all can go look into that a little bit more. But then things just popped off on the 90th minute. They came back alive. The crowd came alive. And it's just like, got to give some love there to the 32 who's there in LAFC. Much love to you all. Y'all are badass. And then pouring one out for my boys in DC United for losing me a freaking point.
Why would you do that to me?
So they, man, you win some, you lose some, and then you really lose some. And my boys in DC United really lost this last one. Holy cow, man. Just
tough season.
What a tough season. What a tough loss. Sometimes I just want to believe in you guys, and then you let me down. So I'm sorry if I stole somebody else's pour one out, but those are my cracked player, cracked game, and my pour one out for this week. I will be passing it over to Fernalgas, maybe?
Let's go.
Go for it.
Technical difficulties come with the job, with the thing. But this week, I have a brand new cracked player of the week for me. Is actually
my God,
Alan Guadarrama.
No.
Look at these stats. Look at this. 15 saves, 7 goals conceded for Sancho CF. Just kidding. That's a quick plug for my Tuesday leagues. I wanted to tell you guys how we got cooked 7-1.
You did?
Definitely, yeah.
Dude, what?
DC United, bro?
Yeah, we got cooked, bro. We had no subs, and it was our first time playing together. Yeah. No, hey, no, they lost 7-0. We scored a goal. We scored a goal.
Scored, didn't they?
No, they lost 7-0. But look at it against New York Red Bulls.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure. We'll see.
I forgot.
No, but I was gonna say, keeping it in theme with my boy Alan Guadarrama as the cracked player, I'm actually gonna do Brad Stuver, who is the goalie for Austin FC, and I feel like he's a very big reason of why they were able to get the win. They had. Let me give you his stats real quick. He had 4 saves inside the box, which honestly is crazy. 3 diving saves, and he had to take on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 saves in on goal. And he definitely kept the Colorado Rapids out of the game because they had 16 shots and 5 chances on target, and he saved all of them, and he was able to keep his team in. And Austin FC was able to capitalize on his great performance by scoring 2 goals, or 1 goal and then an own goal from Navarro, which unfortunate for the Rapids, but at least they could say they scored, which actually, saying that, I did score an own goal on Tuesday as well. So just bringing it back up. But any fans watching, you guys can come watch us on Tuesdays. Maybe I'll be the cracked player next week. Maybe you'll see me there.
I will say, Fern, much respect to highlighting those goalkeepers. They put in work. They don't get as much appreciation. Absolutely great call out.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I feel like he was a very big reason as to why Austin FC won. Were they one of the teams? No, yeah, they've been one of the teams that have been on a pretty bad streak recently, so it's good to have them come back. And then my pour one out. Shoot, sorry for my cracked players. There we go.
Bang, bang.
Your brand right here somewhere.
Your brand here.
Yeah. But yeah, so my pour one out is actually for the Seattle Sounders because I don't know if you guys watched the game at all, but they did get 2 red cards inside 3 minutes. 3, 4-ish minutes. Did you guys see him by chance? Or you want me to
I didn't
describe it
watch
to
the
you?
game, but yeah, go ahead.
So the first one, pretty obvious red. Player is in on goal, last man. He kind of grabs his shoulder like this and pulls him back, right? Red card, easy. The second one, though, could be considered a red card offense just because he technically stopped a goal scoring opportunity. But I probably would have just gave it a yellow because he wasn't the last man. There was another defender off to the right, the left-sided center back, who, if the guy got through, he could have got to him. But what ended up happening was they were running behind each other, and the defender accidentally, the forward, clipped his foot as he was running because they were so close that he just clipped his foot, and they gave him a red card. And I'm like, you know what? I would give it a yellow. I wouldn't give it a red just because it wasn't as intentional as the previous red, and it was kind of like a 50-50 battle. So I just had to pour one out for them because they lost to a team who had 0 shots on target 7 days prior. So
Yeah.
just kidding. Vancouver Whitecaps are beasts, so I can't be talking too much smack. But yeah, no, they definitely did not have a chance after that because it was 0-0 up. No, it was 1-0 when the second red card happened, but they were playing decently up until then. And once you lose two defenders, you're not going to be doing too much. So sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck, man. Nice. Solid
Échale
stuff,
agua, Reyes. Vamos.
Nice. Well, perfect, man. Good stuff there. My correct player of the week. That was the one I shook.
Damn.
Is gonna have to go to Dennis Bawanga. He's honestly been a very good player this entire season. He's been doing super well. But just during this game, I don't think anybody really thought that Sporting Kansas City could possibly beat LAFC in this game. So obviously we all kind of chose LAFC. Dennis Bawanga had just a great match overall. At the end of the day, he was a player of the match, 9.6 player rating, completed the most dribbles in the game, which was 10, and then he won the most duels, which was 12 in the match. So, fought hard, played hard, gave, some assists, had some goals, total of 9 shots, I think it was, 84% accurate passes. So just all around played very, very well. Dennis Bawanga, the guy from Gabon, gets my correct player of the week, letting LAFC win 3-1 against Sporting Kansas City. Quite the interesting game, honestly. 22 shots for LAFC and only 5 for Sporting Kansas City. So kind of a one-sided game in general. So, hats off to Dennis Bawanga, hats off to LAFC just in that, performance. So good for them. My second correct player, which I will have to kind of give this little plug in here, has to go to the greatest soccer player of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo. Winning his second UEFA Nations Cup. And not only winning it, but scoring in every single game this last week. I mean, the guy's 40 years old? And he's scoring goals? Dude, he's the Tom Brady. He's Tom Brady of soccer, man. You can't deny it. The guy's just balling out. He's making his team win. He's taking them to overtime. He's making them win this championship. He's bringing this attention to this Portugal team that's very good, very young. We'll see if it wasn't Cristiano Ronaldo. You might know the name for Fern. You might know the name, dude. Who's the left back for Portugal? What's his name? I forget. Yeah, Nuno Mendes, right? Oh, Menge, is it Menge? I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. I think it's Nuno.
it's
Is his first
Portuguese.
name.
Yeah,
Dude, he's good. He plays for PSG, right?
yeah.
Dude, he locked down.
Bro,
It was amazing what he did during this UEFA Nations League.
we can talk about it if you want, but Lamine
Yeah, we'll get
Yamal
into
did
the
not
UEFA
not
Nations.
have a very good game, but we can get into that a little bit later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get into that for sure.
Never mind. I'm not gonna fall. I'm not gonna fall for the rage bait. I'm gonna stay quiet.
There you go. But yeah, that has to go with my second, respectively, Cristiano Ronaldo for the international play, international performance. Good on him. Congratulations. Way to go. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Correct game of the week. We've already discussed it. Chicago Fire putting on a whomping for DC United. 7-1. PZ already kind of mentioned kind of what went on there. I think just a disappointing performance really for DC United, just kind of because we looked at them as more of a strong team at the beginning of the season, and they're just not having that performance whatsoever. And I think Chicago Fire, we didn't give them enough respect whatsoever at the beginning of the season either. And now I don't know where they're sitting, but I'm pretty sure they're sitting relatively in a good spot, just in terms of their table standings. I think they're in ninth place right now, so kind of middle of the pack. But nonetheless, they're playing pretty well, and I think they're a team that needs a little more respect on their name. So good on you, Chicago Fire.
He's their top scorer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. So we'll kind of see what happens, going forward. A lot of guys on international breaks, so when you can get a win without your top guys, like good on you. Good for you. And then lastly, have to pour one out for the ones that lost this weekend. The MLS team that lost against an Austin FC team that we mentioned was pretty decent at the beginning of the season, but kind of struggling, but then kind of coming back. The Rapids, man, losing 2-0 in their home, 53% ball possession, 16 total shots, more chances created, more possession, and you still lost.
I may have misheard you. And I just want to clarify that you said Crapids. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was like,
you
said it so you said it so
really?
nonchalant. Yeah, I was like, did he just say Crapids? Because I thought you were taking my thunder, bro. I'm like, Kansas City. I'm just
no. Listen,
That's funny.
I've been to a good amount of Real Salt Lake games in my time, and every time I try to make it to the Rocky Mountain Cup when Real Salt Lake plays Colorado because they're somewhat of a rival for us. And so, I've kind of been going to games and I've heard people go, we're playing the Crapids. That's what they call them. So
hey,
kind of funny.
Not too bad. I've heard worse things said online. So
for sure. But anyways, pouring one out for them. Tough weekend for them. But nonetheless, good on for everybody else that had the correct performances of the week. Going into the next section here, going into some major headlines, we obviously are still somewhat in the international window. Lots of international games going on. But I think to kick us off, we might want a little bit of an update from the World Cup. I believe there was some new qualifying teams, if I'm not mistaken, my friend Chino.
Indeed, there were. We had a couple of teams making their maiden World Cup, if you will. Very first time. We had our boys out in Jordan and our boys out in Uzbekistan heading to their first ever World Cup. Uzbekistan finished in the top two of Groups A in the AFC third round qualifiers there. So a little bit of history for y'all. After gaining independence from the Soviet Union, this is their first qualifying campaign since 1997, and so now they're finally World Cup bound in 2026. So,
heck yeah.
Good hats off to you, Uzbekistan. We'll be seeing you out there and playing the beautiful game. Jordan securing a top two finish in Group B of the AFC third round by beating Iraq. So Jordanian football looking good, making it to the World Cup. As we all know, or may know, South Korea has qualified for their 7th consecutive World Cup. And the boys are looking to improve since 2022 when they lost to Brazil in the last 16. They got some shooters out there in South Korea, man. I'm telling you. Club soccer, not always keeping up with it as much as I do with the World Cup. So definitely loving it. Unfortunately, Argentina making it through. Was there ever any doubt though, man? World Cup defenders defending their crown. They're looking good as well. And they could become the first team since Brazil in 1962 to retain the trophy. We'll see, man. We talked about it last week. This Messi's last World Cup. Is he even going to play? Still up in the air. But again, talking about the GOATs, Messi for sure will be fun to watch play if he does end up playing this year, in 2026, I should say. And then going to run through a couple of these here. Iran qualified for their 4th consecutive World Cup. And then they're still looking to reach the knockout round for the first time. New Zealand qualifying for their World Cup appearance, and they've made it to the World Cup a few times before, back in 1982 and 2010 as well. Japan, I believe, was the first team to qualify outside of Mexico, United States, and Canada. So they are headed to their 7th consecutive World Cup, hoping to pull off some blue lock magic there. And we'll see if the boys be looking good this year. Canada qualified as a co-host, as we already mentioned, Mexico and the U.S. So those are our teams who have qualified thus far for the World Cup. 7, not counting the 3 host nations. Excited to see some awesome football here coming up in 2026, man. But really quick, before we move on from this, a couple teams could be qualifying here this week, I believe. 3rd and final rounds will start in September. We won't likely see any European teams before October qualifying for the World Cup. New Caledonia has advanced into their interconfederation playoff. And we're hoping to see some interesting nations for maybe making it for the first time. Like we mentioned, highlighted Jordan and Uzbekistan, but who knows who else could make it for their first time here. But boom, boom, boom. Excited for the World Cup.
Do you guys mind if I give you 2 quick Lopez lesson questions on the opposite spectrum of first time, and just ask you if you guys could try and guess who the top 5 teams with the most World Cup appearances are?
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil's 1.
Brazil's number 1 actually, with 22 appearances. You guys know
Argentina, no?
Argentina are 3rd with
man,
19.
Is
you got 3 more.
Is it CONMEBOL? Are they in CONMEBOL?
Sorry, give me.
Or are they?
Okay, so one of them. I'll tell you 2 of them are in UEFA, but I won't tell you where the 4th one is because it'll give it away.
España.
Okay, so
No, Spain is just outside of the top 5.
England.
Nerd.
England is not on there.
Oh,
France?
Really? Yeah.
Nope.
Nerd.
Think about it. We talked about them recently.
Italy.
Yeah. They're 4th with 18, and there's one more UEFA team. They're very good.
We said Italy. You said not Spain.
Not Spain, not France, not England.
France, not England.
Top team,
Netherlands.
2014.
2014.
Think about 2014.
Thinking about that was South Africa, no?
America, yeah. Or Brazil. Sorry. I don't know. I said South America. It was in Brazil, 2014.
It was in Brazil. Okay,
Yeah.
Brazil.
Who won it?
Deutsch.
Yeah, it's Germany.
Oh, yes.
So it goes
yeah.
Brazil, Germany, Argentina, Italy, and then the last team, the 5th team. If you guys don't have any guesses,
Uruguay.
I can tell you.
Uruguay.
I can tell you. What do they call it? Conference. Concacaf.
It's CONCACAF?
Yeah.
Nope. Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mexico.
hermano.
8 appearances for Mexico and 16 from Spain, France, and England. So they just missed out. And then quickly, sorry, I was trying to think of how to phrase it, but like quickly, how about the players?
Well, like most appearances by a player?
Yeah.
Memo Ochoa's like gone to like I feel like 6
so
of them.
many World Cups.
But he hasn't made it far. So no, he's not on there.
Oh wait, sorry. What's the question?
Oh, who has the most appearances as a player? All-time top appearances. Sorry.
All-time type appearances, like caps, like
like matches played. Yeah.
Ronaldinho.
Nope.
He was only like
2
or 3.
Okay, 2 of them are still playing. The other 3 are retired.
Messi.
Messi's number 1 with
Messi.
26.
It's not Ochoa?
Nope. They're still playing though.
They're
Those
still
are the 2
playing.
easy ones.
Messi and it's not Cristiano, is it?
It is Cristiano.
Oh, it is Cristiano.
Messi's number 1, Cristiano's number 5, 26 and 22, and I'll just tell you guys the 3 in between because I don't think you guys will get it. But Lothar Matthäus has 25 appearances, Miroslav Klose has 24, and Paolo Maldini has 23. And Lothar Matthäus has appearances with West Germany and Germany because he's that old. So,
dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, since we were talking about first-time appearances, I thought I'd just ask you guys real quick about that. Off topic a little bit.
Nice. That's solid. No, that's good. That's good stuff. Yeah, kind of going into this stuff that we were talking about too. I think we mentioned this a little bit too, but I do think, there's quite a few games to still be played this week. And then the couple, the following weeks. And then we kind of have that little break. And then there really won't be any international soccer until about September-ish, I think. But in terms of like Asia and the AFC qualification, it does mention here on the FIFA website, in Group C, there's 2 contenders, right? 2 big contenders. Australia and Saudi Arabia remain in the hunt to qualify directly alongside Japan. The Socceroos, right? Australia, I feel like I've always seen them, within a World Cup, but I think they probably missed it a couple times here and there, which I believe is why they moved to the AFC, the Asian Conference, to have better chances of making it to the World Cup. So they're also in the hunt.
Yeah, I think
South
I saw
America,
that they had to lose significantly, right, to Saudi
Right.
Arabia to not
Yeah.
qualify. So this is on you guys from the land down under. You guys can do it, I believe.
Yeah, they need to win, draw, or lose by a margin of less than 5 goals against Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia on the
Bust
10th.
DC United.
So yeah, literally tomorrow. As long as they don't get killed, they will make it. And then Saudi Arabia needs to defeat Australia by 5 or more goals.
Oh my
just to
gosh.
qualify. So bit of a tough ask for Saudi Arabia. So it should be an interesting game tomorrow between Australia and Saudi. I'm going to be keeping tabs on that one for sure. And then sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, with Portugal winning the Nations League, does that count as automatic qualification? No? Okay.
No, senor. No, it's just kind of the weird thing about those Nations Leagues and some of those
That's because that tournament doesn't matter. Freak, I forgot.
You know what it does do, though? It brings orgullo from your playing for your country.
Yeah, that's true.
So relax there, Fern. Now, in terms of South America, there's also going to be a bit of an interesting, matchup there. I believe they play this week as well. Tomorrow, maybe potentially on Tuesday on the 10th. But from my understanding, Ecuador and either Paraguay or Brazil, who they will play on Tuesday, can qualify this month. All three are. It's kind of funny. They're all dependent on results that are not their own. So Ecuador will secure their spot if they beat Peru and Venezuela fail to beat Uruguay, or they draw against Peru and Venezuela lose to Uruguay, or they draw against Peru, Venezuela draw against Uruguay, and Colombia loses to Argentina. And if they beat Peru, Venezuela beat Uruguay, Colombia fail to beat Argentina, and Venezuela and Colombia meet on the 18th, and it would be impossible for both to match Ecuador's points tally. So kind of crazy for Ecuador. Paraguay can clinch if they beat Brazil and Venezuela doesn't win and Venezuela loses. If they draw against Brazil and Venezuela loses. If they draw against Brazil and Venezuela draws against Uruguay and Colombia loses to Argentina. And then Brazil will qualify if they beat Paraguay and Venezuela lose to Uruguay. And they beat Paraguay, or if they beat Paraguay and Venezuela draw to Uruguay and Colombia lose to Argentina. So crazy situation in South America.
What's the striker's name for Uruguay? It's like on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. What's his name? Freaking, is it Diego something? Nunez? Nunez something. What is it?
Probably. Let me see here.
Diego Nunez? No, it's something Nunez. I can't think of his name. But I was wondering why he didn't play. Because it's Darwin Nunez. I need to see, because he didn't play for Uruguay this last qualifying, and I was wondering why he didn't. And then it literally just processed in my head that the last time I saw them play, Darwin Nunez went into the stands and fought people. Do you remember that during the?
I actually do remember that. Yeah.
What was it? The Copa America. They lost to Colombia, and apparently, the fans were talking or throwing stuff at their family members. So he went out there, and I think that might be why he's not playing. I'll be 100% sure. I'll check it here and double check.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's what that came to my head, and I just thought I'd.
Yeah, that is interesting for sure.
Remind you guys.
We'll see what happens. Obviously, still lots to kind of be played there for, South America, Africa. We're probably not going to see anything till September. Concacaf, not till September, October, November. And then Europe, same thing. They're still kind of very early on the stages. And then Oceania, like you mentioned, Lopez, still, some time to be played there. So lots of games kind of coming up here for the World Cup and the World Cup qualifiers. So we'll kind of keep that in mind. And then kind of going into what's a little bit interesting too, kind of these in season almost or off season international tournaments, right? So we just got done with the UEFA Nations League, which we mentioned, right? Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo winning it, taking the gold medal, taking the trophy during this tournament, beating Spain. Correct. It was 2-2 regular, and then I believe it was 5-4 in penalties. So, good on you, Portugal, for getting that win. Good on Cristiano Ronaldo for kind of winning his second Nations League, right? And, we'll go right into this. Say what you want about the guy. Say what you want in terms of where he ranks, in terms of the best, best players in the world, best players to ever play against, some of the other big names like Messi and everybody else. But one thing I just wanted to point out is if you watch this guy at the very end of this game and how happy he was, how emotional he was just to win this tournament, right? I mean, clearly he's won a lot of different things, right? The Champions League, he's won La Liga, Copa del Rey, he's won a lot of different, tournaments. But when you really see him get like emotional and very excited about, winning something, it was with Portugal. And I think he's mentioned this, right? Where he just wants to win for Portugal. Like that's some real, class coming from someone like him to just want to represent his country. So hats off to him for that. Hats off to Cristiano Ronaldo for winning that, getting his second UEFA Nations League. What a team Portugal has. I'm excited for them to hopefully do the same thing in the 2026 World Cup.
I don't know what to say. You know what? Honestly, they deserved it. Freaking Spain crapped the bed. They should have took the chances they had. Isco came in, had a nice shot, and then Diogo, whatever the goalie's name is, he had a really nice save. And then I just feel like the game was mismanaged on Spain's side by taking out Pedri. Lamine didn't have a good game, so I don't mind him being subbed out. But I just feel like Pedri was playing very well, and as soon as I don't know if it was just the tempo of the game just changed as he left or what it was, but I just feel like he's really good at controlling the midfield and so as soon as they took him out, I'm like, why are you taking him out? It's the final and you need to win. Like, why are you taking out your best midfielder because Rodri's been injured? And I still think Pedri's better than him anyways. But yeah, good for Portugal. They deserved the win because Spain has proven that they can come in and kill teams, and they were able to just stay in the game and win when it mattered. So,
is that me?
Good on them.
I lost him too on my end.
Okay. Somebody unplugged the internet.
The kids be messing with him.
Let me text him. He was saying some stuff. Some good stuff there, Fern.
Our boy was spitting.
So if you were missing what Fernando was saying, he was just basically saying that, like, hats off to you, Cristiano Ronaldo. You're the best. You're the greatest.
Hey, what the heck
what
happened there? I don't know. My internet just stopped working for a sec. As I was finally giving Cristiano his flowers, and my internet crashed. Obviously, I can't be doing that anymore. But yeah, no. I was just saying that good on Portugal because Spain has, been proved I would say they're the best team in Europe. even though they lost, I would still say they're the best team in Europe, with France coming in probably a close second, and Portugal I would say is probably the third best currently.
Mm-hmm.
But Portugal definitely proved that they're you know what, we're we may not have the best team or the youngest team or whatever it is, but we can still compete with the top, and especially with the way they stayed in the game. I feel like Spain was trying to take them out. First goal scored, then a few minutes after, Nuno Mendes comes and scores.
Yep.
Same thing with the Spain striker. I can't say his name, or Zebalaga or something like that. And then Cristiano, he just has that instinct just to stay in the box. Cucurella left them unmarked for literally half a second and just gets it in. And yeah, good on them, good on Portugal. So I guess, I can't say anything. I talk smack, but when they deserve to win, I'll give them their prize. Yeah, so
for sure.
Never mind.
Spain they took it to them, right? They had 61% possession that whole game. They had 16 total shots, 3 big chances created, where Portugal only had 39% possession, 7 shots, and only 2 big chances really. So they put them away when they had to. But I also think you mentioned a couple substitutions here and there from the Spain side, and then just the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo isn't so much I have to be in the game, I have to play all the time, I have to get the full 90 and the extra and all this stuff. And I feel like he almost kind of subbed himself off in the 88th, just saying, hey, look, dude, I'm 40 years old. I did what I got to do, but I got to come off, let the young guys do what they got to do, let this team win. So hats off to him too for, kind of coming off and just giving it to the younger bucks.
I'm also surprised that they didn't have Leal starting, because as soon as he came into that game, everything changed. There was 3-4 players on him. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of watch them kind of going forward with the World Cup and everything. But yeah, that Europe is always stacked. You got Portugal, you got France, Germany, Spain, so many different countries that are very, very well positioned in Europe. So hopefully we'll kind of see that to the maximum potential in 2026. So we'll see. But yeah, hats off to you, Portugal. Way to go, way to win. Next one up, I did want to kind of go over the Concacaf Gold Cup. Bit of an interesting tournament, right? I think we've discussed it a couple times here and there. You guys do know that this tournament, like whoever wins the Gold Cup doesn't like qualify for the World Cup. Do you guys know that? Like,
I didn't
it's
know that.
weird. So the CONCACAF Gold Cup, what it used to be for was for this thing called the FIFA Confederations Cup. Have you guys ever heard of that? Or does that ever ring a bell at all? Yeah, it was like a tournament basically every 4 years, right? But it was like before the World Cup, where basically I believe it was the winners of each federation, like the AFC, like the Africa, Asia, CONCACAF, CONMEBOL, all of them kind of played in this like tournament, and that just kind of was like, hey, look, this is like the best team somewhat before the World Cup, and that's kind of what they had that for. But now that that's not a thing anymore, they still are doing the Gold Cup and the UEFA Nations Leagues and all that stuff. So who knows why? But anyway,
I saw one thing for the Nations League for the creation of it was because UEFA or whoever, I mean, it is the UEFA Nations League, but I don't know if FIFA had anything to do with it. But basically, they were just tired of friendly matches because fans would not really show up or didn't care as much as for the games. So they ended up making something where when you're off, like instead of going off and doing your friendlies, you go and do Nations League games, which end up going to the final. So instead of doing friendlies, that's what they do now.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I mean, that definitely solves that issue, right, of kind of having those friendlies all the time. So, but yeah, I mean, the CONCACAF Gold Cup's kind of coming up here this weekend on the 14th, I believe, of this month. It will go down. Let me share this too with everybody just to kind of look at some of the schedules and some of the games that will be played. At the end of the day, yes, like no, these teams are not going to qualify for the World Cup for winning this tournament. But when you kind of look at it in terms of, Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., this is somewhat of their last opportunity to get in some international play before the World Cup to kind of say, okay, here's who we have that we want to potentially like start for the World Cup, who we want to, the lineup we kind of want to use, maybe the rotations, substitutions that we want to use. It's kind of like the last chance of like saying, hey, this is, kind of a practice round before the big, the big dance. And it's interesting, right? Because we've discussed this, the U.S. men's national team is a little bit interesting with kind of who they've called up. The Mexican national team also has like a enormous roster that they're going to have to trim down at some point for the 2026 World Cups. A lot of things can happen in the Gold Cup. But again, this Saturday we do have Mexico versus the Dominican Republic, kicking us off for this whole tournament. And then I believe the 15th we have, the U.S. versus Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti against Saudi Arabia, and then, so on and so forth with some of these games. So let me really quickly kind of come in here.
No, that wasn't the Gold Cup that we were watching now in Atlanta, right? A couple of years ago, Reyes? I don't think so. When we watched Mexico come, like I called the goal and like the 90-something minute, or like 87.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Mexico's going to score.
Good question.
I don't
That might have been
so.
the Nations League, but it might have been the Gold Cup, actually. Now that you mention it might have been.
Anyway, I was just trying to, because Mexico ended up winning the Gold Cup last time, right? They're the defending champs from it.
No,
I believe the U.S. Yeah, I believe the U.S. is, but they've been trading blows. So for those of you that don't know this, the Gold Cup has only been won by 3 nations. It's only been won by Mexico, the U.S., and Canada in the respective CONCACAF Gold Cup format, right? It used to be like the CONCACAF Championship, and I believe there was a couple other people here and there, but the Gold Cup has only been won by Mexico, who's won it the most, U.S., who's won it the second most, and I believe Canada's won it once.
Hit him with it, Fern.
You are right. Mexico did win the last Gold Cup.
I swear, and it was that same that we were watching the Gold Cup. We were out in Atlanta, right?
It must have been
there with me because the runners up were Panama, and I think that I was like, watch, Mexico's going to score a goal in the 87th minute. They scored the goal in the 87th minute. I was like, dang, bro, I should freaking bet some money on that. On that, man. But I'm looking at some like stats from that. Like Mexico got their 9th title there from the Gold Cup. Panama was a runner-up. 5 goals scored that game. 30. The attendance was pretty impressive. A total of 1 point, about 1 million even. And the top scorer of the tournament. Do you guys know which country he was from? The U.S. Yep.
Oh,
Jesus Ferreira.
See, that's the guy. That's the guy I've been talking about.
With 7 goals.
Yeah, Sounders. The last game or the last CONCACAF Gold Cup was in 2013 3 against Panama, but the final was played in SoFi, so you might be thinking of a different game.
No, we
we watched it like we were in the park.
It was on a TV.
Ah,
We were out
because he said,
I get the confusion. Yeah, no, we were like out at a park somewhere. We're like the last little bit of the game.
It was
Dang,
sick. It was a cool
freaking
spot. Yeah, no, it was solid. It was a lot of fun. So we'll have to definitely check this one out. Like we mentioned here, let's go ahead and see some of these upcoming games just to kind of go over and see some of these, because clearly we're going to be a little bit somewhat biased to some of these teams, right? Like Mexico and the U.S. So, Saturday, Mexico kicking it off. Some games on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So kind of a full slate here with the Gold Cup. And then at the end of the day, I believe the finals, so the finals are going to be on July 2nd. So this is basically just running in the rest of the month and then going into the beginning of next month.
Is there one game after that by chance?
After the second?
Yeah, July 6th is the final. Yeah, because it said quarterfinals. So I was like...
Yeah, my bad.
So the final's on the 6th.
My bad. The final will be on July 6th, which, I mean, at the end of the day, if you could put money on either Mexico, the U.S., or Canada making it to the final, take that bet.
I don't know, man. I don't know if Mbappe is going to be playing for Guadeloupe. We'll see, man. It's part of France, isn't it?
French territory.
French territory.
That'd be funny. He's like, I want to play more games.
Freaking Mbappe.
But this will be interesting, man. This will be fun to watch. I think just in general, like we kind of mentioned, right? Watching some of these, rosters kind of coming together. The Mexican roster, they did just barely lose to Switzerland, I believe it was, on Saturday. Was it this last Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah, so they lost at the hometown at Rice Eagle Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah. They lost to Switzerland 4-2.
Yeah,
bit of a rough loss there. The U.S. men's national team also lost against Turkey. Was it 2-1? 2-0? 2-1? So yeah, that one also sucks too. That one stings, especially with the new roster that they've kind of been implementing, right, and kind of putting in. And we thought, let's let them cook a little bit. Let's see what happens. But again, they are friendly, so maybe they'll pick it up a little bit more for the Gold Cup. But
Turkey does have a good team, though. So, and then I did see a stat that Pochettino's the first coach in a minute to lose the first 3 games, his first 3 games. So
I did see that.
It's not looking good, but if they fire him, I feel like they'd be doing him a disservice. Give him a good, this Gold Cup coming up and everything else to see what he actually does.
Yeah, I honestly would just give him the World Cup, just kind of see
happens, definitely. They didn't hire him not to play the World Cup, so unless he does something horrible like freaking punch Pulisic in the face, then he's going to be there.
Yeah, you never know what'll happen with this guy for sure. But it'll be interesting. We'll kind of keep tabs on the Concacaf Gold Cup, seeing how that goes. Very excited to kind of look at this. I think maybe next episode, once we kind of see some of these games being played, we'll call some of these a little bit more and just kind of say, hey, look, this is kind of who we're looking at. And then we'll just kind of keep tabs on it. So good on the international break for lots of games, lots of qualifications, lots of, introductions to new rosters. So looking forward to all of those games. I think we're good with all of the headlines here. Correct? Mm-hmm. No others. Okay. Solid. We'll go right.
Are we going into the picks?
Yeah. Did you?
I was just gonna say earlier when we were talking about the New York Red Bulls and LA Galaxy, they did lose 7-0. My Tuesday league team is better than the LA Galaxy. Confirmed.
There you go. I guess you're not gonna be in the nalgas section.
You're in the poor one. You're in the poor one out. Yeah, you're in the
week 1, guys. Give me a chance. Give me tomorrow. I'll come back next week. Yeah.
You playing indoor? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So I'll keep you guys updated as a little side track. See if I do better than I do on my weekly picks.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, we can go into picks. We've only been. We still have a little bit of time. Do you want to do TST?
It's up to you. Let's do the picks. Let's get the picks going.
We'll do the picks going. Here we go. Let's look at what we got here.
Let them cook.
Let them. Okay, so going into week 18 of the MLS regular season, we will have some games on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. No games on Sunday. So looking into the Thursday game, June 12th, we have New York City versus Atlanta United. Yankee Stadium. So there you go. It's going to be played a soccer game in a baseball stadium. Kind of interesting here. But again, these two teams, look, they're tied head-to-head. They're both sometimes very good, sometimes not. And they might have some of them. I think we put New York in the pour one out. I can't remember exactly. But middle of the pack. How are we feeling with this game here for Thursday,
Wow,
kicking
man.
off round 18.
Shout out to my boy Brian, but no winning is ever done in the Yankee Stadium when it matters. So I'm going with Atlanta United.
My gut is
Nice.
telling me, man, to go with New York City and just run, but I can't. I don't. Because if you look at those wins, man, they lost to the New York Red Bulls. New York City beat the Red Bulls. Then they have been losing. They beat Chicago Fire, which Chicago Fire popped off. Like Chicago Fire is sometimes very good, sometimes very shit. But like I don't know, man. Let's go. Give me Atlanta United. I'll be kicking myself later once we see the results. But give me Atlanta United. We're here for ATL.
Nice. I might go against the grain there for sure. I definitely think I'm going to go with New York City. I just have a feeling this might happen this week for them. So I'm going to go New York and see what happens in Yankee Stadium.
New York.
In New York.
Concrete
dreams are
Sweet.
made of.
So that is the Thursday game. We have a doubleheader on Friday, June 13th, with LAFC versus Toronto and Portland Timbers versus San Jose Earthquakes. I mean, I don't think we have to go into the LAFC game. I'm assuming we're all picking LAFC here.
World on the line.
See more.
One game to choose to freaking save the world. Give me Toronto.
You
Straight
serious?
up.
No.
Okay. But I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, lock it in, dude.
I was trying to be like that one guy that said Iguodala. What's his name? When they were like, would you rather have Stephen Curry or Iguodala take the game-winning shot? It's like, give me Iguodala. I'm like, what?
I've never seen it. I don't spend as much time on social media like you, so I'm sorry.
Well,
It's not like a dig or anything. I just don't
I
know.
know, I'm
I
just
don't
kidding.
know things. Okay,
Dude.
and then for
Never mind. I was gonna ask if you knew about Tung 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 Sahur, but you don't.
I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm not on it as much as I probably should. Let's see. On Friday, we do have, like we said, the Portland Timbers versus San Jose Earthquakes. I gotta go with San Jose. At the end of the day, like, I want to see them win. I want to see them be successful, but I think they have a lot of people out for international duties, so I'm a little bit nervous taking San Jose, to be honest. I'm probably gonna put Portland here though, just because they're at Providence Park and they're gonna be at home. They've won the last two games. Arongo's out. I think. Who is it? The midfielder.
For who? The
San Jose.
San Jose?
I forget his name. He's the number 10.
Freaking.
But I'm sure both of those guys are going to be out. So I'm just going to have to give it to Portland here because I think San Jose's
Espinoza?
Yeah, Espinoza and then Lopez. I don't know if Lopez will play that game. So
Lopez, are you playing?
Probably not.
Okay.
But he also hasn't been as good given coming back from injury. So I'm going to go with the Portland Timbers here. What do you guys think?
I'm going up the Tims. Give me some Tims on my feet.
I got Tims on my feet. Peasy?
Give me the Portland Timbers.
Yeah. This probably be we'll all kind of go with that one. And then a full slate on Saturday, June 14th. We don't have to go through each of these games, but maybe just to kind of give each of you one game you're really looking forward to from this Saturday lineup. We'll each get 3 games total. Chino, you want to start us off, dude?
Game that I'm looking forward to, that Philadelphia Union versus Charlotte FC. Philly's been in really good form. Charlotte FC's been sometimes very good, sometimes very chip, but I'm hoping that they can have a pretty good game coming up here against a really good team in Philadelphia. So in it all, though, like Philly is looking too good. I could see it potentially ending in a tie, though. I don't know. That's just a gut feeling. We'll revisit this comment next week, but give me Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game right there. Fern, what are you looking at, man?
I am looking at the Battle of the Nalgas. Can you guess what game that is?
I'm going to go with the last game. This one.
Opposite side.
St.
Opposite
Louis
side.
versus LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Come on, bro. I wouldn't talk like that about Real Salt Lake.
I think
Come
we
on.
have both of these guys in the Nalgas.
I think all 4 of those teams are.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
this is
Battle of the Nalgas, bro. One cheek
there's
and
2 of 'em.
left cheek, right cheek, bro.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I guess they didn't win their last game. I thought the Galaxy won their last game. No, they did. They beat the
Galaxy
RSL.
did,
Why
yeah.
did?
RSL,
Yeah, sorry, it was the St. Louis. That's why. I want to see if the Galaxy can keep their streak going. So, and I feel like this, like we talked about last week, they have a perfect set of games to be able to chip away at trying to get back into the playoffs. So if they can win this game and prove that they're not the worst team in the league right now, because they're both on the bottom. St. Louis is just 7 points above them. So if they get a few wins, they can start chipping away at that lead.
7 points?
Hopefully.
Dude, that's 3 games.
So hopefully. 3.5 or 2.5. 2.5.
2 and a tie. I mean,
yeah.
come on.
So if they can win this game and prove that they can beat the teams they're supposed to beat, they might have a good chance. If they lose against St. Louis, their season's over.
You were saying that they had a chance of making it to the playoffs, man. If they lose, come on. Is there any hope for the LA Galaxy at that point? Probably not. I mean, there is no hope already, but
it's a very tough road for LA Galaxy for sure. And just to kind of look at it, right? I think when you kind of look at some of their upcoming games, right? So they do have some somewhat favorable, games coming up. St. Louis, Colorado's been a little bit rocky. San Jose, same thing. They're not super consistent.
Are they away on all those games? They are, right?
Looks like no.
I believe they
this
are.
is away,
Yeah.
and then they'll be home in these ones. But I mean, tough Vancouver game, potential with DC, tough Austin game, super tough LA game. Like,
it doesn't help that they're playing so bad. Ricky Puig has no real incentive to come back ASAP,
Yeah. You think he just takes it off and just goes next season? Maybe.
If the season goes just like it is now, I could see him coming back for maybe the last few games and getting some minutes in, but I can't see him playing a full 90. Could be wrong.
Get some ticket sales up.
I'm just a guy with a microphone.
There you go. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, if you're asking me, I'm going St. Louis, but who knows? If LA Galaxy kind of picks it up, we'll see what happens. Solid picks, man. I think for myself, just kind of looking at, kind of the opposite side of the Nalga section, more the cracked section for some of us, the A tier / cracked section, Columbus Crew versus Vancouver Whitecaps, two teams that have been, relatively closer to the top in terms of the rankings, in terms of standings. Vancouver obviously being very, very good, having that short stint against Cruz Azul in the Concacaf Champions Cup. Obviously losing very, very badly.
They played in the Champions Cup?
Dang,
I didn't even see him playing. I thought it was just Cruz Azul playing like a pickup match or something.
Yeah, basically that's what it looked like. They obviously had a bad loss there. But Columbus Crew being a little bit, shaky here with the last 5 games, to be honest, and maybe it was 6 games really in general. So should be a bit of an exciting game here. I think both of these guys are a bit closer to the top in terms of rankings. So let's come.
Brian White is on international duty, correct? If I'm not mistaken, I think he is.
He should be, yeah.
Interesting.
So this will be interesting. Just kind of given Vancouver could lose some points here. Columbus could end up winning this game, given that they are home. Maybe trying to kind of right the ship, kind of from losing so much. Concacaf, I think, because they're going to play on Sunday, so Brian White should be out. But at the end of the day, I mean, you look at this Vancouver team, and they got a pretty decent.
Columbus Crew is coming back from that thrashing in Miami, though, so we'll see how they bounce back. Maybe they'll come back mad and want to score, or they'll kind of keep the same streak, which sucks for them because they just got killed by Miami. Now they have to play the best team in the MLS, so. Hopefully they can do something.
Yeah.
Is Rossi on international duty?
I don't think it says on here.
Brian White outs confirmed. So for the games, oh no, never mind. I'm looking at this past weekend.
Yeah, if he was out this past week, I'm almost like 100% sure he's on the Gold Cup squad. So he's definitely not going to be playing. Yeah, so I would. Sure. I don't know. That's hard.
I'm probably gonna go with Columbus going into this one. Just my personal opinion. Vancouver could drop some points finally in the regular season of the MLS. But to Columbus, and Columbus kind of gets back on track. That's what I think. You guys kind of
This is
you guys want to weigh in, go for it. But I think this is a great game for Saturday at 5:30. So
this is so hard, bro, because it's like Vancouver's so good, but the issue with them being so good is those players that are standing out especially at a time like this, are going to be called up for international duty.
Yeah.
Because
And Berhalter.
Berhalter, I can't say his name, but he's out. I think I'm going to risk it. I'm just going to go with Vancouver, even though their top dogs are kind of out. But I'm just going to have to go with Vancouver just because I've been playing FIFA recently. And I picked up Brian White as my striker on FIFA, and he's been popping off. So I have to. He scored like 5 goals in one game for me.
Oh, dude, and I guarantee you Jaden Nelson's out too for Canada.
Yeah, he's out. I'm telling you, they've been playing so well. Their best players are going to be out. But this is going to be a real good testament of their team and see if they can make it far. If they can keep it going without their top players, it shows how good of a depth they have and how their players can play when their top dogs aren't there. So this will be a good game. I'm going to go with Vancouver, though.
I think you can't really see it. I'm with Fern, though, on this one, man. Like, there is no Brian White in team. It takes a whole unit to win the game. So I'm going to go with the Whitecaps on that one. It's going to be a great game. We'll see how they can, like, compensate for missing some top talent. But, hey, man, it takes more than one player or a couple players. It takes a team. We'll see if the boys can pull it out. And, hey, man, they're all pros for a reason. So maybe give an opportunity for somebody else to show out and really show them, like, what they're made of. So they're looking forward
if Vancouver shows up in a very lifted truck, they can compensate that way.
Hell yeah, brother.
There you go. Nice. Those are our picks for match week 18 of the MLS regular season. Maybe some honorable mentions, maybe with the Chicago Fire, Nashville game, Austin, New York City Red Bulls game, and potentially even Minnesota, San Diego game. So we'll kind of keep a track on all of these games in the MLS this weekend. But nonetheless, super excited, super pumped just to see some MLS games and some more international games this week. But we'll go ahead and, I think that's a wrap. Any final words, final comments from any of y'all to kind of cap us off today?
Like, subscribe. If you like what you're listening, if you like any of the segments we've been putting up, let us know. Comment down below. We're doing this for y'all, so I'm having fun while we're doing it. So let us know what you guys want to hear more of, want to hear less of. If I'm talking too much, let me know. I'll talk even more. But yeah, no, thanks for following along, all our listeners out there, and that's it from El Chino.
Yeah, and I haven't told the guys this yet, but I'm actually going to be taking a break from the podcast until Messi comes back. So I hope you guys enjoy your time without me. No Messi talk, but no, just kidding. Jokes aside,
happen when he retires, dude. What are you gonna do then?
I'm gonna go with him.
He's gonna cry. He's gonna cry. That's what he's gonna do.
No, but yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for letting me be a dumbass and glaze Messi and talk smack on Cristiano. Keep the rivalry going for years, but good job to Portugal and Cristiano for winning another big tournament. And yeah, I mean, we'll see you guys around. Hopefully we can get some live stuff going with the Club World Cup to support some of the MLS teams. Go out and watch so they can get paid, and then come out and watch us so we can start getting paid. And then, yeah.
It's gonna be nice. Take some penalties, bro. We can go shoot some penalties sometime going live, and every penalty I make, we get Alan, your cracked player of the week, to go block some goals for us, and any goals that we make adds to our leaderboard scores.
You guys are going down, dude.
Easy dubs, let's go. Easy. I'm down.
Love it, boys.
They're gonna be calling me Morata when I'm done.
Exactly, man. Nice. Well, exactly. Thank you guys again for watching. Like, subscribe, and follow the channel. This has been episode number 17 of the Cracked Soccer Podcast. El Capitan, the guy at the top of the leaderboard, signing out. See y'all. Much love. Peace.